If you're looking for real old school laughs, you're in for a treat because we've got them right here. Flip City Magazine. Remember Mad Magazine? Then it went woke? Well, don't worry. Flip City has no chance of going woke. That's right. 4 times a year, you'll get an actual printed magazine full of jokes, stories, comics, and more, all about today's pop culture, entertainment, and woke politics. Flip City takes terrible entertainment trends we love to hate with hilarious parodies of Lord of the Rings, Stranger Things, The Walking Dead, Star Trek, Hunters, and more. Trust me when I say there is nothing else like Flip City on the market. So subscribe today. It will be delivered in print, or you can even get it digitally if you're one of those wacky Zoomers. Either way, follow our link and sign up today, and if you put in midnight, you get an extra 10% off. Check out Flip City Magazine today.
Get away from her, you bitch! You're terminated, fucker!
Welcome, everybody, to the show. Welcome. Those intros are getting a little harder to edit sometimes and make them cool. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. We have with us so far, oh, here he is now. I was going to say, we're waiting for Andy, but he's joining us now. So welcome, Andrew. And welcome to the program. How you doing?
Well, my little computer problems. It wasn't starting up right. Nothing was, so I had to reboot.
Ooh, you got a new setup behind you here. This is the last time I saw you.
Oh, it's working on it.
Nice.
It's a little too dark. I have to lighten it up a little bit, as per my special effects friend.
It's very dungeony. Excellent. Also joining us today, Gary. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Glad to have you back. Glad to
Thank
see
you
you here. Also with us, Scribe Light. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Good evening, everybody.
Yes, indeed. And we are going to talk tonight, not about the drug heroin, although I'm sure there's plenty of jokes to be made.
Hey,
at one time, female heroes were called heroines. So we're going to talk about our favorite film heroines here tonight in celebration of Captain Marvel and all the whammon power out there this weekend.
I got the number one movie.
I'm wearing my pussy hat in honor.
Awesome. Please don't turn on the camera.
No.
I look like a pussy because I shaved. But...
You look good, man.
Well, I got to reset every once in a while, you know.
Yeah.
You know, have you ever gone as Kingpin for Halloween? Because, dude, you'd make it.
I went as Penguin before.
Next year do Kingpin. I think
especially Vincent D'Onofrio's. Yeah.
I
have to buy a fancy suit.
Yeah.
But welcome everybody. Yes, indeed. As I mentioned, we're going to count down our favorite film heroines. So share out the link. Let everybody know we're live. I'm going to start a poll in the chat because we like to hear what you guys think about things as well. So let's see here. What's a good poll for you guys? Let's see here. Let's start off with this.
I like that.
Count down the. Thank you.
We'll count down the Ellen Ripley Alien films. You guys pick your favorite, and when we get to the end of this list, we'll see what you guys think in the chat there. So yeah, let's get rolling here. We've got total of five for each of us. We're gonna kick it off, I believe, with Scribelight, who picked Lola from Run Lola Run.
Yeah, Lola Run.
Why did you pick Lola?
Well, it's kind of so many things. It's a sentimental favorite of mine. Late '90s, kind of a weird, goofy little foreign movie, and the soundtrack and the momentum of the film, and just watching the different variations. If you guys haven't seen the movie, I'm not going to give too much away, but I think this is the first time I ever saw Franca Potente. Is that how you say her name? I think Franca Potente. And I was just out of high school, having gone through 3 years of German class. And so this came out, and it was this odd little movie, but it was in German. I was like, oh boy, I'll watch this. And so I watched it, and I was so taken with the direction, the acting, the intensity of it, and the soundtrack. And I just thought Lola was cool. I just thought she was a really, really cool character, a little bit of an anti-hero, given the plot. And she always just kind of stuck with me as just a really cool female protagonist hero. So without giving too much away about the movie, I recommend, if you haven't seen it, see it in German. I'm not big on dubbing, but yeah. So I don't know if anybody else here is a fan of the film or not. I know it's a little bit of an oddball choice, but it's one that came to mind.
The Kinks didn't do the soundtrack, did they?
Not to my knowledge, no.
All right, little pun there.
That would have been funny. That would have been funny. Yeah, but no.
I saw this movie years ago. I don't really remember it, but I remember this gal. I remember her.
I think she was either dating or involved with Elijah Wood for a while. I think that was her other claim to fame or something.
Isn't she in The Bourne Identity as well?
Yeah, she plays the first love interest in The Bourne Identity.
Yeah, and
she's been in different places too. She played a very interesting character in the TV show The Shield in like the second to last or last season. I don't know that she does a whole heck of a lot in the States anymore, but yeah, she's a good actress.
Mm-hmm. Good choice.
Yeah, I remember it being brought to my attention by Siskel and Ebert, and I saw it way back when it first came out. And like Gary, I barely remember the movie. In fact, I think I combine a lot of it with my initial viewings of it with the Fifth Element.
Right.
And
yeah. There's
later I realized that they're two different movies. Yeah.
Yeah. Lilu and Lola. Yeah. They came out around the same time. Fifth Element's one of my favorite movies too. But yeah, like I say, the fact that she came to my mind, we're talking about female heroines, but also the fact that I think as old as it is, and it's a little bit obscure at this point, I just wanted to recommend it to anybody who hadn't already seen it.
Excellent. All right. Well, great start. Scribe always bringing the lesser known stuff to the table. Appreciate that.
I always learn something.
Yeah. Let's see. Up next, we have Andy with one after Andre's heart, Miss Valeria from the original Conan.
I was really hoping somebody would pick this. I totally forgot about her.
Two Fools Who Laugh at Death. Man, once you get somebody like that can share the screen with Arnold and not be eclipsed, she did a hell of a job. Sandal Bergman, very tall and very fit lady. She, I think she's over 6 foot.
Yes, very big woman.
And
I think she passed away, didn't she, or is she still with us?
I don't know.
I thought for some reason I think she passed away, but I could be wrong. I apologize if I'm wrong.
But yeah, anyway, great movie and great heroine in it. She plays tough as hell, but also has a warmth and sensitivity and that femininity that she's, nurturing and trying to persuade, Conan to kind of just, hey, let's just go off and have a life together. But really kicks ass. It was that time when you could have a strong hero that could still be feminine.
Yeah. She's still around. She's 71.
And she also came across as legitimately badass. Not like I couldn't imagine that person being able to do that. But like, especially the setting and everything else, you could see her as actually being able to manage the action she was taking.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you know this, Andy, but Terry Leonard was the stunt coordinator on Conan. And Terry Leonard was one of the stuntmen who played Indiana Jones in Raiders of the Lost Ark. In fact, he's the one that went underneath the truck.
Oh wow.
And,
okay. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, and Terry Leonard actually started going out with Sandal Bergman during Conan. Lucky bastard. Yeah, he's a lucky prick. But yeah, this gal, Sandal Bergman, she was really truly that badass.
Damn.
Yeah. She's a very memorable presence in the film, and she plays a big role in it, and definitely worthy of being on this list. Crom would agree. Good choice, Andrew. Andy there on the Valeria.
Thank you very much.
All right. We're going to move along, I guess, since nobody else has much more to say. I know this is going to be a quick list tonight, guys, because there's only 4 of us. But Tox is gone and stuff like that. So, and 6, I think, is working. If not, so better she just didn't get involved tonight. She didn't like women, I guess. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, I believe we have Gary with Miss Tyrannosaurus Rex. I was so happy to see Rexy on the list.
Yes. So, I'm a huge monster movie guy. And I always kind of hoped that Jaws was a female. Because Jaws, well, yeah, I guess so. I mean, I just figured it was a dude because they named it Bruce.
Well, we do know the one in Jaws 3 is the big one.
That's true. That is true. I was just kind of hoping that it was a lady great white in Jaws, but nonetheless, this one, I love this one. She ate an attorney, she ate a bunch of velociraptors, and she's just kicking the shit out of everything throughout the whole movie. Really a big badass woman, and you don't want to mess with her. And
she truly is the hero at the end too.
I think so, man. I really, I mean, I kind of identify with villains. I always fantasized about being a James Bond villain since I was a kid. But I think you're right. I think that she's kind of, I don't know. I kind of think she's the hero. She definitely wins at the end. She conquers the whole land, the whole island.
She kicks the crap out of the raptors at the end of the first film, and then she makes her triumphant return in, I believe, the 4th film, where she also fights that big dinosaur and holds her own. But yeah.
And she didn't complain when they did that graphic with her weight causing the water to shake.
Oh yeah.
She's very sensitive about her weight too, yeah.
Yeah, she's very confident in her mass. Yeah, this is definitely one of my heroines.
The only downside is that she didn't eat the children. That stupid plastic got in the way.
Right. Yeah.
Especially the 4th one. Those kids were useless. At least Lexi and what's his face had some use in the first film.
Yeah, a little bit.
She figures out all the controls of the book it's the boy, but in the movie it's her that figures out all the controls of the park.
Yeah.
That kid in the 4th one, I'm trying to remember what he went on to star in.
I don't remember either, but it was just the 2 nephews of what's her face.
Ron Howard's daughter.
Ron Howard's kid. I can't think of her name now.
Bryce
they were pretty useless.
Yeah. But yeah, excellent choice to kick off the list there.
Glad you approved.
Equally as a formidable foe as Miss Rex here. My first entry is Mrs. Voorhees. Because as you know, any mother that would kill for her son, especially on the mass level that Miss Voorhees did in that first film, definitely deserves a spot. I mean, I wish my mom would kill for me. I mean,
maybe she did.
We don't know. Yeah.
See, I always wondered, was that the first summer that she went on a massacre?
No. She killed those kids initially. Because if you watch the movie before the credits, that's in 1954, I think it is.
Right.
And she killed those kids that first summer, and then they explain in the Interium every time they tried to open, something happened. She poisoned the water another time.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. So yeah, she's been tearing up since
terrorizing for years.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. Good.
Oh, that kid. Sorry to run backwards. That kid. I know I saw him from somewhere. He was in Insidious.
Oh, he was.
Okay.
And he was also the kid in Iron Man 3.
Oh, Oh, that kid. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, that was him. I didn't even think about that. I didn't draw the connection, but yeah.
I thought you were talking about the kid from the first Jurassic Park, and I
No,
was
no,
like,
no.
what?
The fourth one where they have the the two nephews.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and he's also the kid that's at the end of Endgame where everybody goes, "Who the hell is that?"
Right, because by that point he'd grown up and gotten his hormones, and so now I'm gonna recognize him. He didn't look like what he did in the movie.
Yeah, he wasn't a little cherub kid anymore. But no, Mrs. Voorhees. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's a good one.
He was no longer popular with the Hollywood elite.
Well, and since we just got a Valiant raid, so I want to do this. Welcome everybody from the Valiant raid. We're gonna go recap real quick what our number fives were, real fast. I can't use. Yes, I can. It falls in both categories.
It's all a matter of perception.
On your point of view. Yeah,
exactly.
It's all your point of view, man.
Yeah.
Okay, he doesn't think she's a bad guy.
My number 5, of course, is Mrs. Voorhees. Gary's number 5 was Miss Rexy from the Jurassic Park series. Andy picked Valeria from Conan for number 5. And Scribe's number 5 was Lola from Lola Run. So there we go. There's our top 5. And we got a poll going on in the chat right now. So quickly vote, because I'm going to close that poll and we're going to see what you guys think and we'll start another one. We needed a good idea for a second poll. What do you guys think? Some ideas in the private chat.
Okay.
Best Marvel heroine.
That's actually a good question. All right, so kind of surprised but not surprised. Aliens takes the top with 65%, the favorite Alien film, starring Ellen Ripley. Alien comes in second place with 33%, and a whole whopping 1% for Alien 3, and nobody, and I mean nobody, voted for Alien 4.
Oh God, no.
0.
One lonely person voted for Alien 3.
That was me. I did it. It was me. I voted Alien 3.
Oh God.
I like that movie. What do you want from me? I like it.
That's funny.
One of the funniest lines I've ever heard is in that movie. It's great.
All right. So,
well, okay. So here's the line. So she lands on a planet, a prison planet full of like rapists and murderers and terrible, terrible people, right? And there's this part where this guy's cleaning a tunnel, and then this dog walks up, and he's got these scars on his face because, unbeknownst to them, he's had a face hugger on his face. And the dog is like whimpering and walks up to him, and the guy gets down on his knees and he puts his hands on the dog and says, "What's wrong, boy? Who would do this to a dog?" And I'm thinking, you're on a prison planet with the most violent people, and yet this is this shocking question to himself where he is and everything else. Because it's like, even in that place, no one would hurt a dog, and I just always find that so hilarious. I don't know it's just bizarre. Okay, I'm the only one that finds it funny. Whatever.
Sorry, yeah, I'm laughing on the inside.
I can tell.
Yeah, I identify as being humorous.
I'm setting up a poll.
I've been called a dog.
Oh, so she's a dog.
That's one of the funniest lines ever.
She barks, she drools.
Oh man.
Sigourney Weaver co-stars the dog, becomes a dog.
So we'll see if Sigourney Weaver pops up on this list, but yes, nice symmetry there. So the new list is up. Your 4 possibilities are there. Your favorite MCU heroine. Let's get to our number 4 picks. All right, we've got Scribe Light with Sarah from Labyrinth, a very young Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah, another sentimental one. When I was a kid, I think Jennifer Connelly might have been my first crush as a kid. Yeah. And because Labyrinth was amazing.
Of men of a certain age, she between her and Phoebe Cates, I'd imagine so. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was within reasonable territory back then to have a crush and not make it weird. So because rose-colored glasses and everything, but I remember watching this movie and I always felt like she was portraying a legitimate angsty teenager. Like I could relate to her in this situation, and she was selfish and she was self-centered about, taking care of the kid, and she just wanted this life and everything else. And then she goes on this adventure, and I could always just feel like I could be in her shoes as I'm watching this. And I always thought that she reacted, I mean, as realistically as you can to like Jim Henson monsters coming after you and everything. But her and like Princess Buttercup and like all those characters of that era really stuck with me. But I always liked Sarah because Yeah, because I could always kind of relate to her, and the age which I watched that movie, it really stuck with me. So yeah, sentimental favorite there as well.
Putin's right. She says this about what 20 times in the movie.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, she does do that. It's true. Yeah, she's a bit spoiled. And then of course, when career opportunities came along, it came along right at the right time for as I aged along with her.
Yeah, she was a little. I felt like a little bit of kind of dirty because I'm a few years older than her, and I'm watching her Labyrinth, and she's really cute, and thank God there wasn't the internet out there that would tell me like, yeah, she's like 4 or 5 years younger than me, and I'm like, yeah, that would be bad.
She was like 16, I think, when she did this.
Yeah, something like that. I forget what year it came out, but
thereabouts. Yeah.
She was even younger when she was in the Argento movie, but yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, Top Gun Maverick, she has held up very well.
She took your breath away.
Oh yeah. I mean, the range between the worst part was sort of like having my mind shattered once I saw Requiem for a Dream, and I'm like, oh no. It's like, no, Jennifer Connelly, what are you doing? I mean, it's a performance, but all the same, just like having those, opposing images in my mind of this sort of like heroic adventurous youthfulness, and then it's like going off to Little John's apartment, like, oh no.
I'll tell you what about her though. We talk about men like Keanu Reeves and certain other ones as vampires, they never seem to age.
Mm-hmm.
She is one of the few female actresses that just never has seemed to really age. She looks pretty good for her age.
Oh, no,
she's starting to, but
yeah, she looks a little more drawn now, but that's just the way it is. But yeah, between this and I think Dark City, Dark City, absolute knockout. I mean, holy cats! And then you got Mulholland Falls, just on and on. Like I can't think of a performance of hers, even in a movie that wasn't necessarily that great, that she didn't just knock it out of the park, as far as I was concerned. Anyway, Sarah the character,
yeah, Sarah's a great character, even though she does think everything's not fair. But yeah,
it's true. Yeah, she's whiny, but at least she's consistent.
Yeah,
Sarah.
Got a character arc. I think she's less whiny at the end of the movie.
Yeah, she's a great character arc, actually.
She goes from one.
And she has an arc. She gets tempted by the Goblin King to sort of like join him or like that kind of thing. And there's I forget exactly how it goes, but there's a internet theory about the whole behind the scenes of the Goblin King thing. That I wish I could repeat here. It would take forever, but look up like a Labyrinth. Internet theory on the secret theory behind Labyrinth, because there's a convoluted, weird backstory that someone came up for this that works way too well, and it's an absolute mind bender.
Yeah, and I love how this movie appeals to both men and women, or boys and girls.
Yeah,
I mean, I remember when it came out, I don't remember it being thought of as a girl movie or a boy movie. It has elements that appeal to both.
It's a fantasy adventure.
Yeah, nobody questions Sarah being the lead in the story. I mean, but we all know the true star of this film is David Bowie's codpiece.
Of course. Yeah, that's it. But yeah, back when movies didn't make a big deal out of just like, here is and especially the Henson's Workshop. I mean, good gravy. The work they did on this is amazing. Still, it all holds up because it was practical effects. I will say the green screen for some of the puppets never really quite held up, but otherwise. But yeah, just a good old fashioned fantasy adventure movie where the star of the show is the story, and you're not like, oh, we have a strong female protagonist doing this, that. But just tell the story, just let it play it on its own, and don't make a big deal out of it. It's like, yeah, those were the days.
No, you made the point. She actually starts out the story as a spoiled little brat, and by the end, she has, she
grows
saved
up
her little brother and all that kind of shit.
Yeah. Yep, just enough.
That's the only redeeming part about having, a bratty teenager in the film. She has to change,
Yep.
And that's the real sign of strength. Look at Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
Whiny bitch, but then, look what happens to him. Same thing here. So
very similar to Luke, and considering George Lucas had a lot to do with the film too, that's
true. Yeah.
Understanding. But there you go.
All right, Labyrinth. Tadashi Station.
Tadashi Station. Well, I was gonna pick up some power converters. All right, keep moving along here. We got Andy with Celine from the Underworld films.
she really did wonders for like that black vinyl outfit. I mean, she was just like, she came along and she was just badass, and like she was a vampire, so you really didn't have to worry too much about, stretching your imagination too much, because all right, you're already super powered. That initial scene where she just steps off of the top of that tower and shoom, and just lands and walks, that was pretty cool. And the way they did the whole thing, she had good charisma to her. She had she was engaging, very broody, but hot nonetheless. And it was a really good arc when you come to the conclusion of the story, when she found out that this guy who was the father figure to her really was the one who turned into a vampire, murdered her family and all that, and so she lops off his head. It was quite satisfying.
I always like the fact that the landing from the tower wasn't the superhero landing. She just kind of crouches slightly and then just gets up and walks off, and just that's it. There's no crouching down and doing the Black Widow hands splayed out kind of thing, or Spider-Man deal. Just just walking out, just walking off a cliff.
Yeah, stepped off the curb.
Yep.
I've seen the first two and I barely remember them. I remember the concept being cool. And of course I have that shot you guys were just talking about in the intro.
Did you
probably
know
one of the more memorable bits in the movie, but yeah.
Did you know the big black guy that played the great big werewolf Rays? He's the one that wrote the series.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he came up with the concept and wrote it.
Yeah, I kind of vaguely remember something like that, because it was the first film was like an underground indie kind of movie thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a big lawsuit from White Wolf Studios because they sued them over concepts in the movie that they said were too close to Vampire the Masquerade in intellectual property and everything. And the big their big sticking point was, well, it's vampires versus werewolves, and they're like, you can't copyright vampires versus werewolves. Yeah. It just doesn't work. The other thing too was the behind the scenes drama between Kate Beckinsale, the director, and what's his name who played the other werewolf, because she was married to Michael. Sheen. Michael Sheen. Yeah, Michael Sheen was playing the werewolf leader or whatever, and she and he were married, and then she had an affair with the director, and then they broke up, and they still did movies together later on.
Professionalism. Yeah,
well, hey, credit where credit's due. It's like, well, job's a job, I guess.
Professionalism, I respect. So yeah, I wish it was more memorable. There's 12 of these movies by now.
Well, there's 3, and the other ones are the myths that Highlander sequels are.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I know there's at least 6 or 7. I'm like, what do you mean only 3? So there you go. Yeah, no, I remember when it came out. It came out also in the height of, I think somebody said earlier, the emo leather Matrix kind of craze.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the same kind of time period. Oh yeah. There you go. And number 4 on Gary's list is a mystery. It's a mystery.
Oh, that's right.
It's a mystery.
Oh my God.
That means it shows up on somebody else's list coming up.
She's a mystery girl.
Yeah, that's right. Surprisingly, we did not have as many crossovers as we could have this week. But
that's good.
So yeah, we'll get back to that here in just a moment. So in the meantime, we'll get to my number. Oh.
Womp womp.
Womp womp.
Mine also shows up on somebody else's list. So we'll have to wait and see. But with that, we've reached the end of our next number. And we go and see what the chat is talking about. We got Jason Webster, who sent in a very generous Australian $5.
Mm-hmm.
Good day, mate. Says the Marvels only earned US $47 million domestically and 110 worldwide total for its weekend. It is dead, kids. This is not good.
Yeah.
Not good for Miss Marvel.
Doesn't it need to earn something like, I don't know, 600 million or something to even just break even on the whole deal? More than that, yeah.
Because I think its budget's at 250 or so that they've actually admitted to.
Okay. Yep. All right.
Probably a minimum of 2.5 times budget.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah,
okay.
And I think it's probably more closer to 3 with all the reshoots.
Yeah.
Right. She's just getting her footing.
Yeah. She's getting her footing. second weekend it goes up. That's usually how it works.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Nicholas Horton says, "Hail all my heroines: Alita from Battle Angel, Wonder Woman, Usagi Tsukino, if I said that right, from Sailor Moon, and April O'Neil in Princess Leia." You know, I didn't think to put April on my list.
Oh man,
I didn't even think about it.
That last thing kind of like put a damper on it, huh?
I thought about Alita. But good movie. It just didn't stick with me for whatever reason. Oh well.
Then we got Doug 1985 who says number 1 Terminator 2, number 2 Aliens. Well, of course, I think he means Sarah Connor. Then of course Ripley, and then Kyle from Child's Play 2. Scream, which would probably be Sydney, I'd assume. And Ghost in the Machine. Who is the chick in Ghost in the Machine?
Oh, the
Johansson?
captain or something. What's her name? Is?
I know, yeah, the movie I think was that with her. Yeah. And then we got Olaf, who's been here for 27 months. Thank you, Olaf. And then General Sod says, has to be a chick with 3 boobs for me. TR.
All right.
Yeah, well, you know, you got the one in the
Total
Recall, and then there's another one too. I'm trying to remember. Dearest says Jennifer Lawrence. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, didn't they bring back the 3 boob lady for the remake of Total Recall?
They did, but there's like it was based on something else, and I'm trying to remember. Probably some anime or something like that. Dearest says Jennifer.
All right, good.
No, go.
No, I was going to tie into that.
Oh, and this here, Dearest says Jennifer Lawrence created the first shit list. She was also the first name on the list.
In my honorable mentions, I did put Jennifer Lawrence from the Book of Genesis. So,
yeah, and how do we spell Genesis?
I got the proof. Yeah.
Jen.
Yeah, Genesis.
Yeah, Genesis. What's Genesis? Don't mess with me, Kirk. What do you want with a progressive rock band from the 80s?
That had to be the worst line delivery
Phil Collins
ever, dude. Genesis, what's that?
Genesis, what's Genesis?
Oh, you'll see.
He wasn't even trying. He wasn't even trying.
I have just divorced my wife, and I want some Phil Collins.
Studio. Captain Ballsy's been here for 14 months. That's 2 years, my friend. Wow. Right. Or not 2 years, a year and a few months. Thank you. 24 months would be 2 years. My math sucks tonight, but math is racist. So that's all that matters. All right, let's see how the poll's going. Most of you have voted. Quickly, everybody get in there and vote, because we're about to end the poll. And then I got to think of another one. But I think we have an idea in the background here.
If math is racist, does that make him Director X or Director 10?
Ooh.
He's not even Roman.
Wait. We was Romans.
Was you?
We was. I'm sure there's a theory out there somewhere. It's the internet.
I'm not even going to dignify that one. All right, kids. Let's end this poll and see what you guys think. No surprise here. Black Widow gets 70% of the vote. ScarJo running away with it. Gamora coming in second place with only 22. Wanda sadly only got 4%. And poor old Captain Marvel got a whole whopping 2%. Who is the 2 people that voted for Captain
Marvel? What the fuck, man? Don't fuck around. That ain't funny, you know.
Actually, it'd be, let's see, 248 votes. Actually, that's more like a close to
5.
At least 5, yeah. Like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, we got another poll up now. You guys gave me a good idea. Let's do some Bond ladies. Favorite Bond lady. All right, and the choices we got in the background here via our panelists. Gary, who I think has probably the best choices here. So I'm just going to copy and paste them right in here.
I picked what I thought would be the 4 toughest ones.
Yeah, like I think this is a good, because I've heard of most of these. So
yeah,
I can't believe that none of them are from that last Daniel Craig film.
Really?
Oh, jeez.
Shocked.
Yeah.
All right, so get on that and vote, guys. There you go, your favorite Bond lady. And we're gonna get back to our poll here. Thank you so much, guys. I know we got some other super chats and stuff we're gonna get back to here in just a few. But we're moving on to our number 3 choice right now, and Scribe picked Alina Montero.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the chemistry and she was just a badass lady when she's fighting Zorro sword to sword, and they almost have a draw. He just gets one on over, and of course, slices her clothes off, which was great. But Catherine Zeta-Jones, I mean, one of the last, you look at her, just think that is a movie star first and foremost. Her presence, her appearance, the way that her attitude, the chemistry she has with Antonio Banderas, and she's no slouch. She actually participates in things, and she's still vulnerable and feminine without coming across as some kind of man insert character. Back when that was still something you could do without being railroaded off of Twitter or something. And I always just remembered her as being such a great match in an action movie for a iconic hero like Zorro. And so I was trying to think of great movie heroines. Catherine Zeta-Jones as a movie star in that film, and just how fun it was. It was really up there for me, and I just remember it very well.
Yeah, in real life, she's like royalty. She really is.
Mm-hmm.
The way she's treated, the people that are surrounding her, it's pretty amazing.
Beautiful lady, despite the cultural appropriation, because she's Welsh and not Spanish. So,
I mean, Al Pacino was Scarface.
Made a fortune playing Spanish and Latin characters.
I'll be honest, I was surprised that Selma didn't get this role back in the day.
Yeah. Well, how many times can you pair her with Antonio Banderas, though?
But some pairs just work.
Yeah.
But
especially on
especially on Selma.
Speaking of aging well, wow.
Oh man, I know that picture of her coming out of the pool.
Yeah, somewhere there's a picture of Dorian Gray with Salma Hayek on
it. No, but Catherine Zeta-Jones, she just had that stature. She just had that elegance for that role. I mean, Salma Hayek. I don't know.
I agree. She definitely has the grace and the elegance to play this character.
Yeah, she looks like a princess.
Hair.
Yeah, yes. I mean, it was Zorro's trying to save the princess, and don't get me wrong. I don't mind looking at Salma Hayek, but when I think of like you said, royalty, princess, sort of idealized, Catherine.
Did she do that Mission Impossible-ish movie with Sean Connery? What was that?
Entrapment.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, caper movie, and especially her little dip underneath the laser was the biggest part of that trailer in the movie. Next.
That asked a lot of tickets.
Mm-hmm. You don't remember?
I've seen it, but I don't really remember it.
It's not very memorable except for her in tight-fitting clothes. Honestly, I mean it's an okay movie. It's passable, but yeah, she sold it.
It was quite enjoyable.
Yeah, there you
Why
go.
don't you undo that board and let me get to know you? Let's see here. Moving on. Andy picked Shu Lian. So, of course, Michelle Yeoh had to wind up on this list sooner or later.
Talk about a badass. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. She's got one of the most epic fight scenes ever filmed between two women, especially. That thing just goes on, and there's no stunt doubles. There's just her and Zhang Ji fighting each other and who was a dancer before. She had no martial arts training before that film, but they really put her through her paces, and she stepped up to it. But it really shows her expertise and her abilities. And these days, when you turn on like the latest MCU things, and you see how certain galactic captains out there don't even work out for a role. It kind of makes it look a little. Yeah, well, we can't really look at Michelle Yeoh. It's like she kicks ass, and you could do a little something. I mean, even that show Into the Badlands, where Daniel Wu, put together he has a stunt camp like that you do before you go into his movies, and he takes all the actors and he puts them through 6 weeks of rigorous martial arts training so they look believable on film. Yeah, so Michelle Yeoh definitely quite impressive in her abilities as a heroine.
I have this movie. I've seen it. I could not tell you what the plot is. It's just very pretty and cool to look at the same time. I can't, that's the best thing I can explain about the movie.
I saw it once in the theater. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I don't really remember it very much,
Yep,
but
same.
it was really cool to look at. It was very fantastic.
From a Chinese martial arts standpoint, it's an epic. A lot of Taoist undertones to it, a lot of commentary on things like that, and fantasy, traditional Chinese fantasy epic, where like one of the highest levels of ability is kind of like the ability to fly, and which they kind of do, like they defy a lot of gravity with the wire work, which is pretty impressive. Magic sword, girl doesn't want to go into the traditional princess role and wants to become an assassin instead. You know, it's the usual.
All right. Anybody else got anything to say about Shulin or Shulin? Am I saying it right? I don't remember.
Michelle Yeoh is very cool. Like I said, I'm not familiar with this, but I like Michelle Yeoh and pretty much everything she does.
Mm-hmm.
She's pretty much earned a spot on the list in some way, shape, or form. So I'm
Honorable
glad she
mention
did.
for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for that, Andy. And then we've got Gary next with Gwen DeMarco.
Hey.
Yeah.
Sigourney Weaver did make the
Sigourney
list.
Weaver made the list.
You know, I really, really like Sigourney Weaver. But
And her assets did too.
When she had the blonde hair in this movie, man, that really that really made me look at her in a whole new way. Yeah, I love Sigourney Weaver in this, and I think that my favorite part in this movie is when she ridicules the chomper shit that they have to run through. And I think that's great because they never do that. You know what I mean? Nobody ever questions what the hell they're running through in one of these shitty Star Trek episodes. So I just thought it was great. You know, she looks at it and she's like, well, fuck that. You know? And then they dubbed it over as, you know, well, screw that. But she says flat out, well, fuck that.
There's a couple times you can tell that got overdubbed because there was definitely some F words. And they're like, well, we can make this PG or PG-13. Yeah.
Yeah, but I like how she's arguing with Tim Allen, like, you know, this shouldn't even be here. Why the hell are we doing this? And she's got that one stupid ass job, you know, to repeat the shit that the computer says. And, you know, it what's great about it is she took a stereotypical kind of bimbo character and gave it a real kind of third dimension. And, like, you know, all the things that we say or all the things that other ladies say about these characters, she's saying about herself in the movie. So I thought that was great. And she's still kicking some ass in the movie too, and she looks fucking great. She looks really good.
And it was also a little jab at Roddenberry. I mean, if you think about it, it's like, yeah, sure, you
totally,
put a woman on the bridge. What did you do? You made her the fucking communications officer. Like, you made her a glorified fucking operator, basically.
Yes, that's true. They were kind of knocking on Roddenberry.
Well, there's a lot of that in the movie that, like, every character has a little knock in there somewhere for, you know, somebody, whether it's Nimoy and his probably, you know, too good for the role bullshit and you know, and just, you know, I mean, Tim Allen does a great job of probably just encapsulating probably some of Shatner's worst, you know, worst bits and stuff like that. And the rest of the cast kind of fills in there. No, it's a great choice. And I'm glad you picked her for the list.
Yep.
And Galaxy Quest is one of those perfect films. It just absolutely does everything right. I think of that. I think of like Tremors, where you just have this movie that just like everything works. No, there's nothing in the movie that feels like it could be cut or it doesn't matter to the storyline. I love Galaxy Quest.
The only thing I would say is like what Gary just said. I would love to see this is one of those few times I'm like, give me the unrated cut. Because there's definitely an R-rated cut of this movie.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
So I want to
definitely
see
an
it.
edgy cut.
And I don't
yeah.
expect it to be like all nudity. No, it's just the F words and some of the other stuff probably lands even harder than it did before.
Right.
Because like you said, in the movie, it's funny when she's like, well, forget that. But like you said, you can tell what she really says. And that's why people are laughing. Let's be
Yeah,
real.
yeah, that's the joke. It's so obvious. Like, it's not even hidden. You know?
And there's like 2 or 3 other times in the movie where you can tell an F word's been 80 yard over. And it's like, I'm glad they did to just help with the ability for this movie to reach mass audiences. But at the end of the day, I would still love to see the initial cut just to see, how different it is and how much more raunchier it did get in the rating. But no, I'm glad it's there.
You'd like to see what she does with Grabthar's hammer.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, baby. Hammer away.
All right. And my number 3 is Catwoman.
Oh, yeah.
Because she's perfect. Especially the re-envisioned, I guess you could say, Michelle Pfeiffer version. I feel like that was one of the first times that she really got a... I mean, she was always kind of there in the other versions, and I'm not speaking to the comics, but I'm talking more so like the Julie Newmar / Eartha Kitt versions where, she was more villainous. In this version, though, she's a little bit more
anti-hero.
In the middle, anti-hero especially. And I love the bit that I think really kind of sums her up is when she saves that one chick and she's all like, yeah, just like every other typical woman who's waiting for some Batman to save you,
Yeah.
instead of doing it for yourself, like, and it's really is, this takes her character in this movie takes all the things they're trying to do in modern films and does it perfectly. And I don't mean that to be funny. I was just thinking that I could have too, but no, like, I mean, she's a victim at first, but she doesn't allow that to keep her down. She twists that on her victimizer, on Max, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then also at the same time, she's got 2 men in Batman and Penguin, and also a third party in Bruce Wayne, where she's juggling all these things throughout this movie while also executing her own plot underneath everybody else's. And really, if you think about it, her plot is the only one that really gets fulfilled, right? Like, she gets her revenge on Max.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the other thing too. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just saying, and it's justified. But go ahead.
I was going to say the other thing too that you wouldn't probably see as much today is that she embraces her femininity, turns it into a weapon, and lives it, and unashamed of it, not trying to downplay it or anything else. Whereas today, you get like birds of prey, and they put them into like potato sacks for clothes, and like just make them like try to be like teenage boys or something.
Right.
Whereas
And it's a true transformation too, right?
Yeah, it's Jekyll and Hyde. I mean, she really goes Jekyll and Hyde between the meek little mouse and then it's all like, now I'm the cat. And it just, it works perfectly. And it's, it's the best embodiment of the character. And it is great.
Yeah, Pfeiffer's really using that whip in that movie too.
Oh yeah, you see the behind the scenes thing,
all that stuff. Yeah.
There's a scene. There's behind for the guys in the chat that don't know. You can find it on YouTube. There's a behind the scenes shot of her in one take, using the whip herself, Michelle Pfeiffer, no stunt double, and just knocking heads off of mannequins one after the other in sequence, without any cuts or anything. And then she just sort of like skips her way out of the scene, and everybody just explodes in applause. It's great.
One take, right?
Yep. Well, at least that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in the film it's actually in a couple different cuts, but it's all done in one take. Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you can't do that femme fatale seduction thing in modern day because not all the guys are like, "Wait, this is a trap, right?"
Wait a second. Wait. Double meaning. What? Huh?
I'm going to report you to HR right now.
Uh-oh. Just about killed Gary.
No, and people don't really think about it until you kind of rewatch the movie knowing it, but she is the hero of Batman Returns. Bruce Wayne is not really the main character.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of more her foil in some scenes, her love interest in others. And then at the end, she kind of becomes, hopefully to become her conscious, but it doesn't, like I said, she actually finishes her job. Batman technically loses at the end. He beats the Penguin, but he doesn't stop her from killing Max Schreck, right? Yeah. Like that's where he fails. But she fulfills her destiny in that moment, and that's kind of where I think that it was a brilliant version of it, and I love it, and that's why she's on my list.
Yeah.
Good choice, real good choice.
Yep.
She had to be sewed into that bitch.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I'd have done
Boredom.
anything to be the guy to unsew her out of it.
Right? Because I don't think she was. There's no way she's probably wearing underwear. You can't. It would show through, right? Like,
No.
And
she
bunch
might be
up.
wearing a sports bra at best, but yeah.
Man.
Boy,
Who
hot
got
in
that
here.
suit when the movie was done?
I'm sure it's out there somewhere. I think
Lucky
Warner still
bastard.
owns a lot of those. Like, I know recently they've had like shows where they show off all the bat suits and stuff like that. And I think the Catwoman suit was a part of that as well. So I'm assuming they still have it. I'm sure there was a couple of them, but every
can't
day
think
they would
of
have
a
to
woman-
unstitch her and stitch her back up into it. Yeah.
I can't think of a woman who's sexier than Michelle Pfeiffer. I really can't.
And she
In
just
her-
captured that. Yeah. With her,
Yeah,
she
in
has
her
those
attitude,
big cat-like eyes and it just
Yes.
worked perfectly. Yeah.
I really can't think of a sexier actress than Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah. And they haven't been able to do it since.
No.
2 different Catwoman or 3 different Catwomen since, or however many it's been. And of course, this is the version that the animated series pretty much picked up on. And
That's right.
I'm
yeah.
thinking, like I said, I don't remember how she was in the comics. I don't know if it influenced her in the comics or if it was vice versa, but I'm assuming it was definitely something that took effect in the comics. But,
Well, not
Anyway.
not modern comics. Modern comics, I think she has a prosthetic.
well, I think she's with Poison Ivy now
Oh,
With a
of course.
prosthetic.
with a prosthetic. Yeah. It pumps up.
Yeah.
All right, hurry up and vote, guys, because we're going to go through some super chats. We got Sean Green, who says, another great Sunday list stream. Thank you. And you were awesome on Flashcast time. Well, thank you, Sean. I appreciate that. Captain Palsy, it's his birthday tomorrow. Well, just in case you don't make it to the morning show, there's something we do for birthdays. So, speaking of Catwoman, hello. That's my favorite Catwoman. Michelle. Yeah, she's hot. But Captain Palsy, I heard it's your birthday. So I do this thing when it's somebody's birthday. I sing happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. It was Captain Palsy, right? It's happy birthday, Captain Palsy. Happy birthday to you. And many more. There you go. And
Well done.
this one's on the house.
Bat Tom.
That means he must
Perfect.
like you, Captain Palsy. You didn't charge me for it this time. Ben Dowdy says, well, that or he got to see Catwoman. That's probably why. Ben Dowdy has his list here. And feel free to throw your guys' lists in the chat. Ben Dowdy says number 5, Precious. Number 4, Captain Janeway. Number 3, Barbarella. Barbarella. Number 2, Stella Star from Star Crash. And number 1, Anne May Wong in When Were You Born? I've never seen that one.
Don't know that
Never
one.
heard of it. Yeah.
Stella Star Crash. Yeah.
I know. I think I've seen Star Crash.
That's the that's Stromberg's helicopter pilot in The Spy Who Loved Me, Stella Star, the actress. that
Oh,
plays
never
Stella
mind.
Star.
Okay, I was thinking of something else. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was thinking of a movie called Star Crash. I was thinking. Okay.
Stella Star. Wow.
Rob Altus says, glad I got back to watch The Mayhem. Where's Dr. Zira? You know, she should have wound up on this list.
Oh,
Definitely
yeah.
gets a shout out. She thinks that Charlton Heston is so damn ugly. 6 has her list here. Here we go. J-Lo from the movie where her husband beats her.
Jeez.
Enough is enough.
Enough. I was gonna say is enough. Yeah, I think that's the one. Number 4, All the Real Housewives of Potomac. What? Bella in Twilight 2, not Twilight 1, just Twilight 2. Oh no, that's Bella from Twilight. Never mind. And then number 2,
Yeah.
the homeless woman in Home Alone.
Yeah, she was the
Choice.
real hero of the story. That's true.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Feeding the pigeons.
The turtle dove, the doves, yeah. And then Wonder Woman is her number 1. Well, I'm sad you weren't here to join us tonight, 6, but I like your list. Thank you
Lisa
so much.
wasn't
for the list.
Grapey Wonder Woman from 1984.
Right.
Yay.
And then Jason Webster's 5 film heroines are Sarah Connor from Terminator 2, number 4, Natasha Romanoff from Iron Man 2, number 3, Ellen Ripley from Aliens, number 2, Wai Lin from Tomorrow Never Dies, and number 1, Shay Yin Soo from Villainous?
Villainess.
I never heard that. Yeah. Must be a Korean film or anime. Probably a Korean film knowing just what. Packing Protons is in the house. How you doing, buddy? Says Rosario Dawson as Bella Lena in Voyager. B'Elanna,
yeah.
I've never seen Voyager DS9.
Never seen it.
Really?
Yeah, I checked out after a while. I got so Star Trekked out.
Okay. DS9's worth it. Voyager.
I've heard. I want to go back to see it, but I'm waiting for them to just update them and do the remasters.
Yeah, if they do them.
If they ever get to them. Camelbot Killer says, Tom, besides TMNT, if you could green light your favorite superhero movie, past or present, what would it be? Who would you have star in it, live action, animated CGI? Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Besides TMNT, well, Superman's already being done.
Again.
Probably another favorite. Let me think. I would love to take a crack at like Spider-Man or Batman. Really. But I don't think that would ever happen. I think I could also add something to the Hulk. And of course I would do it live action, but CGI Hulk. Has a star in it. Oh yeah, definitely recast Ruffalo. I would either give, Norton wasn't the worst choice, but gosh.
The best choice would have been Steve Buscemi back in the olden days, because you have to have someone who contrasts completely with the Hulk. You need somebody who looks not like they're a muscle-bound anything.
Yeah.
We were talking about this a couple weeks ago on a show, and I came up with somebody, and I was like,
Joe Pesci.
That would be a great show.
Yeah, Joe Pesci.
You don't want to see me when I'm angry.
See, the problem with Norton, when they said it's like, I like him as an actor a lot. The problem is that I look at him and I still see American History X, and I can't take him seriously as a weakling or vulnerable. And it just doesn't. Yeah, when you curb stomp somebody with a big swastika on your chest, you're kind of out.
Yeah. I always thought, I don't know how old he looks now, but the guy from, that really skinny dude from Kong Skull Island. What the hell's his name?
I don't know.
Oh, was he in Avatar?
Was he? I don't know.
I'm thinking of the guy that was in Grandma's Boy 2, the guy who was making the game.
No. I'm trying to think of
this guy.
Damn, dude. He was also in The Predators. Or no, I was thinking of two different people, because Loki is the one that's in Kong Skull Island.
Yeah.
Who was the guy that was in The Predators?
Predators.
Oh, Adrian Brody.
Adrian Brody, I always thought.
Oh yeah,
a really good.
Yeah, he would have done.
Banner.
Yeah, he'd be. Yeah, because you have to have somebody who severely contrasts with the Hulk, both in their carriage and their sort of like physicality. You need somebody that does look kind of slight. Brody,
and I always kind of liked, and I always liked the Bill Bigsby, because that's the one I grew up with, of course. But I mean, I always like that kind of. So when I think of that, that's why Norton I thought was a good choice. I think Brody would be another good, somebody who's that type, right? You need somebody who's kind of that meek, but very smart, and can talk, and not somebody who's like Ruffalo's too much of a fucking soy.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Ruffalo is very Bixby-esque. That's the thing that's the one thing they at least tried to get alongside with.
I disagree with that. I don't know where people see that. And you're not the first person to say that, so it must not be, just me. It must just be something with me. I don't see where people see Bigsby in him.
No, I'm saying Bixby-esque. I'm saying he's got that, he has that sort of like slight sort of like gentle cuddliness. But I mean, he's not Bixby. He doesn't. His performance is not Bixby. I'm just saying, like,
that's where. No, yeah, I was gonna say, like, because, like, to me, I thought, not to go too far down this anymore, but I always thought, what's his face, Norton was a bit more, because Bigsby, he was, he was a soft, sweet guy, but in the show, he was not somebody who would generally let people push him around either.
I like Norton because he displayed that intelligence.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. He kind of got that balance. Yeah.
Ruffalo, you don't pick up that brilliance that, like, you look at Norton, you can see there's stuff going on inside of his head. I mean, even Robert Downey Jr. did that. Like, and as he's working stuff out, he really does that idea where you can see the wheels turning inside of his mind when he's figuring things out, and it's believable. Ruffalo's just kind of like, well, I kind of did an equation here, and I figure I'm gonna calculate this and making it as carbon neutral as possible. But
he's more of the scatterbrained scientist, nerdy kind of type, where that's not what Banner is. Banner is
and nobody was buying that Scarlett Johansson was
exactly like
that part I never understood. I was just like, what? Really? No.
Maybe if it was Norton's, I could see it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, Norton could have the chemistry with her, but not the Ruffalo thing. That never made any sense.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But anyway, yeah, that'd be my pick. And I don't know if you guys want to throw one in there real quick if you had thought about it in the meantime.
If I could redo a superhero movie?
Yeah.
I'd find a way to do the best Punisher movie I could figure out. There's bits and pieces of the existing ones that I think are great, but they never none of them really quite hit it right. So yeah, I'd try to find a way to do the perfect Punisher movie.
Anybody else?
I'm good with no superhero movies. I want to see them go away.
Yeah. Legit.
I want the bad superhero movies to go away. I love the first two Captain America movies. They're great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
First Avenger was a good one. That was a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
What we really need is ROM Space Night. If we needed a movie done, we need ROM Space Night. Anyway.
Now, isn't that one that's tied up with the toy rights or some shit?
Probably.
It's like hasn't even Marvel removed them from all the old comics or some shit.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Hasbro owns the character. So.
Right. Okay.
That's what I thought. Yep. I was going to say, yep. And then ActionCom picks I can't remember how to say her name, but Kobao from Rambo 2. I know who you're talking about. I'm trying to remember how you say it. But yeah. Key Jex, if I'm saying that right, sends in $10. Thank you so much. Says, who win, DC Enchantress or Marvel Enchantress? Ooh.
I'd say Marvel's Enchantress. I think her power set is probably a bit.
And she's a god.
Range. Yeah, she's
probably. I don't know as much about her as I do the DC one, but I guess I'll give it to the Marvel one just because.
Are you a god?
Oh yes. Camelbot Killer says, panel, same question. What movie would you... Oh, we already got to it. There you go.
Yeah,
sorry, I didn't say it now. Thank you for that, Camelbot Killer, for the extra $2. Jason Webster says, I thought Eric Bana nailed it as Dr. Bruce Banner in Hulk. He wasn't bad.
Yeah. No, but
he still had brooding, but
yeah, he still had the physicality of a trained athlete, though. That's the problem. Is just like he did it. He had a good performance, but he just didn't carry the character that. Like I said, when you get, it's sort of like Eddie Brock versus Peter Parker. Eddie Brock has to be practically a bodybuilder. You don't get
Topher Grace.
Topher Grace. That doesn't make any sense. There has to be a visual.
Topher wouldn't be a bad Banner. See, and that's the thing is you got to find somebody who's that.
Then, yeah,
maybe. Well, I don't know how he is now, but like that's the thing is that's the thing I don't like about Ruffalo is he's too dumpy for another reason besides just his personality, the way he plays the character, and all that business.
Even the way he talks, he kind of talks at the side of his mouth, like because the gamma rays.
Exactly.
He's like a fucking guy you picked up off the street because you couldn't find anybody else.
You're not Stallone, man.
Yo, I am Bruce Banner.
That'd be great if you
angry.
That'd be great if you cast Stallone in his prime as Bruce Banner, and then he gets hit with the radiation and he turns into a green Steve Buscemi.
You got me angry. Bad stuff's gonna happen. The other guy comes out. You know what I mean? No, I'm just saying, body wise, like you really want that scrawny, almost like the whole Captain America thing, right? Like
exactly. Yes,
you want that contrast.
That's what made
there.
that work. Yeah, that's what you need. Yeah.
But
and it's the male power fantasy. That's the other thing that they keep forgetting about is that Captain America, the Hulk, this played out to male power fantasies of being the best that you can be or being dangerous or whatever else, and you really need that contrast. And they just, except for Norton a bit, they haven't really mastered that.
So the next iteration of the Hulk will be Finn Wolfhard, right?
Oh, you know
Oh,
what?
Lord.
There you go.
Yeah.
A little older, he wouldn't be the worst choice.
Well, I'm saying by the
honestly.
next time they roll around to it, because I mean, let's face facts. Marvel's probably going to go on ice for a few years because it needs to get that swelling down.
Marvel on Ice. Yeah, that's probably the only place they can make some money.
If he wasn't so built, I would even say like somebody like what's his face who played Darth Ray, the kid.
Adam Driver.
Adam Driver, yeah. I mean, if he
Oh.
wasn't so built, and tall, like, he
Yeah.
wouldn't be the worst choice
John,
either.
Johnny Long Torso? No, sorry. Doesn't know.
Well, no, I'm just saying. But anyway, your favorite Bond lady was Pussy Galore by a long shot.
Hey.
Holy shit. 61%, not 69. I thought.
I voted for Anya Amasova.
Yeah, Anya was second with 22%, fitting. And then Melania Havelock, with 8%. And Jinx Johnson got a whopping 6%. So there you go, guys. Oh, we got a Nina Infinity raid too. Well, hello everybody from Nina's a raid. And all right, so I'm gonna try and come up with another poll while we get back to the top 5. We're now at number 2, and this is actually on 2 different lists.
Mm-hmm.
So this was and it's both of y'all's number 2. So why don't you talk about it now? And that would be Marion Ravenwood. So go ahead, describe, and then I believe it was Andy. I think you were the other one who had it, right? No, it was Gary then.
I guess so. I thought it was. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
One of
Go
y'all
ahead,
did.
Yeah. So I mean, sort of Marion Ravenwood, and I'll give away my number 1 just because Marion Ravenwood and Princess Leia, for that era that I was growing up and seeing movies like this. Those 2 characters, and maybe Marion Ravenwood just slightly more so, just struck me as so. And remember, this is from the perspective of like a little kid. Marion Ravenwood was battling up there right with the boys. And they tell you that right at the beginning, where she's drinking another guy under the table. And then she's punching guys and slapping Indiana Jones around and everything. Yeah. And, it really set my mind as a kid as to, not to make it too so sexual politics about it, but I just thought a girl can stand up to Indiana Jones? Like what? Because I had a concept of Indiana Jones as a kid even before I saw the film, because he was just sort of part of the zeitgeist at that point. And she tries to outsmart the bad guy, tries to drink him under the table. She's running around, she's doing action things. But again, in those moments where she needs to be, she's also feminine, vulnerable, and reacting like a real person would when you fall into a pit of snakes. And so she's a believable hero. She's not all just masculine because she's a woman and has to stand up with the boys. She's got the best mix. And she was also smart and crafty. She had everything you needed to make a really good character, regardless of gender. But the fact that she was also a woman in this and was an even match for Indiana Jones as a foil and a partner, and especially given the movie that she was in, to be able to carry that. Karen Allen, I got to tell you, I mean, Raiders of the Lost Ark is one of the best movies ever made. And unlike, say, maybe, I don't know, Godfather 3 with what's her name as the daughter, she doesn't drag the movie down or something. She's absolutely perfect in that movie.
Yeah.
And Gary,
she's probably the only lady to ever land a solid hit on Indy.
That's the first thing she does. You got a lot of nerve showing up here, and then wham!
Lays it on him. Yeah. Yeah. I know, when they break out of the Well of the Souls and she jumps in that flying wing and starts mowing those crowds down, that was awesome. Mm-hmm. I mean, she's not afraid at all to grab that minigun and just blast some fools, Yeah, she kicks ass, man. She really does. And like you're saying, Scribe, she's very feminine, and she's very, in the scene with her and Indiana Jones, after, he got his ass kicked and they're on the ship and they're trying to get it on and he just passes out. She's very attractive. She's very beautiful.
One of my favorite scenes is when she's got the dress on and she's with
Belloc.
Yeah. And she thinks she's gonna, outdrink him because we've seen it happen earlier in the film, and then we realize he's sitting there drinking shit from his own vineyard, so it's stuff he's been drinking since he's a kid.
Right.
And she's 3 sheets to the fucking window already. And she pulls that knife out. It's just a great fucking scene because even though she doesn't like get his come up, it's a twist on the audience because we already have that expectation of her because we've seen her already. She's a tough little chick, right? And again, we root for her. She's probably everybody's favorite indie woman or whatever you want to call her, kind of like the Bond woman.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, I think that was one thing that everybody agreed with, especially with Crystal Skull, was at least they wound up together at the end. And then, of course, the way they screwed that up in the new one. But yeah,
of course, yeah.
Yeah,
You
and she
know,
wasn't
that's funny,
completely.
Tom. I always thought that was a joke when Belloc said that because the label on the wine bottle is in Arabic.
I never even noticed that.
Yeah, I thought that he was just being sarcastic. I thought the whole scene was improvised, and I thought that was just Paul Friedman, or I think that's his name. I don't remember his name, but I thought that was him just improvising that.
Could have been.
You know,
I'd have to see this.
I grew up with this. It's my family label. It says like, you know, it's all Arabic on there. I thought it was funny. But yeah, Marion's great. She really they, you know, her and Indy have that history too.
Yeah.
And that's another great thing about the character. The other characters were kind of, you know, what's her name from the second one, Spielberg's wife. You know, she's kind of
Willie Scott.
whining, you know.
Yeah,
like,
that's the thing about her in this one is
you
that
know.
she's not completely helpless, and she's not a drag on the story, and she's not obnoxious. She's not.
She isn't. And Karen Allen is a great actress. I mean, I heard that Kate Capshaw had to be tranked in order to drop all the bugs on. Well, Karen Allen wouldn't have done that. She wouldn't have been on pills, you know, to calm her down. She would have just been like, look, just do it. You know, really, that's she's a great actress. I think she was underused.
She had to deal with the snakes and shit.
Oh my god, man!
Well, behind glass, but
they were all getting bit. They were getting bit left and right on that set.
Well, it was actually worse for her because I mean they weren't always behind glass, and she didn't have pants.
That's right. Yeah.
She shouldn't even have shoes on. I don't think.
And snakes, for those who don't know, like to go to the warmest thing they can.
Yep, they do.
So they kept trying to wrap themselves up her legs and shit. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, no, she's a great choice, and I'm glad she made the list. She didn't quite make mine; she would have. She's definitely in the top 10 for sure. But great pick, both Scribe and Gary on that one. And this is one you're going to have to explain this one to me.
Oh man,
Mary Kate Donaher from what was the name of the film?
Quiet Man.
The Quiet
Man. Yeah,
good job.
So, any woman that can hold the screen with John Wayne.
Yeah.
And slug it out with him and kind of put him in his place. And Victor McLaughlin, who's her brother and the town bully. and she doesn't take any crap off of him either. She's like, you know, she is completely fearless. She is stubborn, opinionated, big mouth, beautiful, stunningly beautiful, and yet has a warmth in the scenes that makes it believable that, you know, she can be such a horrible shrew yet completely tender and lovable. So, and any woman that there's not very many of them that could deal with John Wayne's stage presence. Like, I mean, he was a powerful figure, and he usually overshadowed most of his co-stars. So when she came along, and she was quite an impressive lady. She's got a lot of. There's another movie she did with John Wayne called McClintock. It's got more of a comedy, and they're a married couple, and they're estranged, and she is giving it to him left and right. And tell you what a great sport she is. When they were shooting this film, and Maureen O'Hara loved these guys, John Ford, Ward Bond, and Victor McLaughlin. They would perform together so often. There's a scene in The Quiet Man where John Wayne she falls down to put her shoe back on, and he grabs her by the collar and is dragging her down the hill. Well, the night before they had to shoot that scene, John Ford, Ward Bond, and John Wayne loaded that hill up with with sheep manure.
Oh, jeez.
So when he drug her through it, like she was getting covered in that, and she just got up and played that scene. It's kind of like what Gary was just saying with the professionalism with Karen Allen. That were her like getting bugs dumped on her. She was like, "Here's this woman. She just got like drugged through sheep shit, and like and gets up and like and still plays her scenes and with all of her tenacity." So yeah, if you haven't seen the movie, I highly recommend it, especially around St. Patrick's Day with a good beer.
All right, I was starting the other poll here. Sorry about that.
Oh, I just remember the one. Doesn't it's been a long time since I saw this movie. Doesn't John Wayne like smack her around a bit in this, and then she smacks him back?
Well, yeah. In my family, since we're all Irish, there's the most quotable scene when he's because she is going to leave him because the plot of the story is he's a retired prize fighter who killed a man in the ring and he can't deal with the guilt of it, so he promises never to fight again.
Right. And
he runs afoul of the town bully, who's her brother, who was Victor McLaughlin, who was a sparring partner for Jack Dempsey. So it culminates into this. She's going to leave him because he won't fight her brother. So he goes to the train station and grabs her and says, "All right, we're going to put an end to this. Come on, we're going to go." And he's taking her to go see her brother to settle all this. And there's an old woman, and she runs up and says, Mister, here's a good stick to beat the lovely lady."
Oh, those were the days.
but it's set in like 1920s Ireland,
Right.
Like there's a line in this where they're courting, and Nicolino Flynn, Barry Fitzgerald's character says to her, like, she turns around, she cocks her hand back, and he says, none of that now. At least have the good manners not to hit the man until he's your husband and entitled to hit you back.
There you go. A movie that would not be made today.
Yeah. So here we go. Keep moving on. Let's see here. Gary's number 2 was Marion Ravenwood as well, as we already covered. My number 2 is The Bride, aka B or Beatrix from Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. I mean, what else can I say other than she kicks ass? And another mother that would kill for her kid, especially when she finds out that her kid's still alive. Spoilers. Definitely one of Tarantino's funnest films, I'd say. The first film is, for sure. It was tough not putting her at number 1, but there was one that had to go one above.
Good choice.
The Bride, definitely one of my top picks. And if you haven't seen the films, do yourself a favor, of course. But I imagine you guys have all seen the Kill Bill films.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yes.
Saw him at the Cinema Dome downtown Los Angeles.
Nice.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, she had so many great scenes in this. But my favorite has to be, Elle, tell me, just between us two girls, what'd you say to Pai Mei to make him snatch at your eye?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love the Crazy 88 fight. That's probably my favorite bit. Especially wearing the Bruce Lee.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was great.
And then when she, this is what you get for fucking around with the Yakuza. Go home to your mother.
What? That is a great concept, though, to have a sequel to this where Vernita Green's daughter goes after her.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
That would be good.
I don't know if he's ever going to do it or not, but he always said that was his plan. But yeah,
now, isn't he stopping after his next? He said 10 movies, and that's it.
Sounds like it, but then again, we'll see with him.
Yeah, he might get bored. You know,
turn around and go, well, it's volume 3, so it's still the same movie.
Just put a girl with nice feet in front of him. He'll do it.
Yeah. My favorite scene, it doesn't have B in it, but obviously it talks about her, is where Bill goes to find Bud and goes there to warn him that, and Michael Madsen, it just has, in this one scene, just so much pathos, and you're just sitting there just like, that woman deserves her revenge, and we deserve to die. And it just the whole setting up without the character being there, just sort of, telling you the gravity of this whole dysfunctional family and this whole revenge plot. And I love the conversation between those two.
Then again, so does she. That's
And then he shoots her with rock salt.
I was going to bury you with this. But if you're going to act like a horse's ass.
I love Madsen. God, he's so good. Oh, man.
No, that second film is great, too. It's just, I can't wait till they come out on 4K. So. Yes. Yes, indeed. So, with that being our number 2, let's see what you guys are saying with the super chats. Insane hippie insane says Gina Davis and Long Kiss Goodnight. Well,
that was almost my number 5. I was actually
has a
debating
chance
between those two. Yeah,
she still has a chance. So 1 in 4 chance. Bad Gamergate says Rose Sayer for number 5. Katharine Hepburn from the African Queen. Tracy Diana Rigg from On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
best
Sarah
Bond
Connor,
theme.
Ripley and Princess Leia. Yeah.
I think Master's Secret Service has the best James Bond orchestra theme. And personally, I think that's the best one.
I agree. That's a good soundtrack.
Yep.
Great movie.
Y'all seem to like that one. E. Clay Thomason says Colonel William Deering in Buck Rogers. Aaron son. What did I say wrong?
William.
Did I say William?
I know.
Holy shit!
I'm a nitpicker. What can I tell you?
No, I didn't. Can't even believe I said
That's
that.
Aaron,
yeah, and they're gay. Aaron's son in Farscape, Trinity in the Matrix, Captain Shane Vanson in Space Above and Beyond, and Scully in X-Files. Yeah, I'm surprised
Space
Scully
Above
hasn't
and Beyond.
popped up yet.
I almost put her on my list, but yeah, Space Above and Beyond. Well, I haven't thought of that show in a long time.
Yeah.
That was an interesting show.
Oldie. And then we got Rasco, who says Clarice Starling of Silence of the Lambs. Oh yeah, good choice.
I like the Julianne Moore one much better.
Yeah.
Really? You do?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I didn't hate her. I thought she captured it a little bit better. Yeah.
Yeah, just a little. I'm not a big Jodie Foster fan, but yeah, I'm a big Julianne Moore fan.
I can, yeah. See, that's the thing is, I can see Hannibal treating her the way he does as Julianne Moore, not so much as Jodie Foster.
Yes.
Well, going back to contrast, maybe it was just because it was the first iteration of the character, but I always thought Jodie Foster was far more meeker of a character or performance than I suddenly forget her name because you just said it 2 seconds ago. And
I agree
Julianne
with
Moore.
you. I think she's better in the role. I just like Julianne Moore better.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah,
All right,
and the thing is I can see that. See, Julian has a natural beauty that Jodie doesn't have, and that's the thing. Knowing Hannibal as a character,
yeah,
like he would look at her. First of all, he judges her by her background, but he also sees something in her, and it would have to clearly be, first of all, a beauty that he sees on the surface, but also something that intrigues him underneath as well. And Jodie captures that part, but Julianne is the more natural beauty to where you can see him going, okay, yeah, I can see why, he would want to be the gentleman or whatever, quote unquote, that he is to her, in so many words. And yes, tomorrow is your birthday, Captain Palsy. If you didn't see it, back up, my man. Bat Tom already made an appearance. Now I got to pay him this $2 because he said it was a freebie. He's going to be like, where's my $2?
Was that your impression of him?
Yeah, that's my crappy impression of him. Yeah, where's my $2? Hey, $2 is $2, motherfucker. I mean, come on.
Where have I heard that before?
On the corner?
There's my $2. Thank you so much, Captain Palsy. Yeah, if you missed it, back up the stream, man. I'm sorry if you missed it. Bat Tom made an appearance for you already because we're gonna move along. We got one more poll going on right now in the chat. It's the final poll for the evening. Is we're on our number ones, then we're gonna send you on over to Culture Casino's show tonight. So here we go. Scribe Light's number one, as he already spoiled, Miss Princess Leia.
Yeah, when I go back to my childhood, I think Princess Leia was the first girl I ever saw in a movie hold a gun and shoot the bad guys, and I just thought that was so cool when I'm a little kid watching her like take down stormtroopers and stand up with the boys, and also standing up to Darth Vader. Like when I saw that movie as a kid, I was like, Darth Vader is like the scariest mofo ever. I was like, and then she's just like, Lord Vader. It's like, he says, why are you not scared? And just, yeah. So, and plus, I mean, I said specifically Star Wars, the first film, but just throughout the deal. And of course, by the time I got to Return to the Jedi when I was a little older, I was like, and grew up like, oh, Slave Leia. But yeah, but even then she was like on the deck, aiming the gun, shooting people and everything. And yeah, so Princess Leia, one of the best cinema heroines of all time.
No reward is worth this.
And plus, and not only that, but like her, you can't have a really good hero without the chemistry with the other characters, and between her and Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill and everybody, it just worked. Just a perfect package. Made her a better character with the heights that were operating around her, and her attitude. Well, but again, it's sort of like Marion Ravenwood, and it just maybe was that sort of like George Lucas, Steven Spielberg rubbing off on each other kind of thing. You have someone who is both carry themselves as a tough, strong-headed individual, but also has that femininity that's just waiting to make itself known when it needs to be, and then we're back to business professionalism and moving on with the plot. And it's just great.
And I believe this was also your mystery pick from earlier, if I'm not mistaken, Gary.
Probably, yes. I completely agree. Ever since I was a kid and I watched Carrie Fisher, whip the shit out of these stormtroopers, and she barks back a lot, but it's not to the point where it's like annoying feminist.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just she's just straight up trying to kick some ass. And she's got a hell of a lot more experience than Luke did too. And then of course this, when Jabba knew what he was doing when he wrapped these little pieces of copper wire around her naked bodice. Yeah, Carrie Fisher is definitely the hottest thing since sliced bread.
Yeah, there's some pictures out there that were, and there was a movie that came out, a TV movie with Carrie Fisher and John Ritter, and where he plays a polo player who gets paralyzed, and there's this whole love story between the two of them, and she just looks so sweet and wholesome in this little farm girl outfit. That and those Rolling Stone pictures from Return of the Jedi from that photo shoot. Oh my God, she is just incredibly beautiful. Wow. And as a 10-year-old boy, when I first saw her on screen, wow, she was, even with the stupid hairdo, what a beautiful girl.
I like the hairdo. I like the cinnamon rolls. I thought it was hot, man. I really did. I loved it. I think she's fucking great in the Blues Brothers too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, sure. Oh yeah.
She shoots a fucking rocket launcher, blows up the fucking phone booth. It's great. It's hilarious. Yeah, Carrie Fisher is brilliant. Carrie Fisher, again, going a little more into the actress, she was a ghostwriter for a lot of movies and a lot of shows that you guys all know and know pretty well. She worked a lot, and a lot of people did not know how involved she was as a writer.
Right. Yep, absolutely. And she didn't make my list just because Star Wars has fallen so far off.
Yeah, understandable.
The radar, but
sure.
No, she definitely would have otherwise, for sure. And then we've got Andy, who picked Charlene Baltimore, basically Gina Davis's character in Long Kiss Goodnight. Great film. Rennie Harlan classic.
Yeah. Talk about a believable heroine. She's, the whole femme fatale. There's the, she gradually, starts to recover her. She's, if you haven't seen the movie, it's a Shane Black movie. Lethal Weapon, Last Boy Scout, all those shoot 'em ups from the 80s. I think Rennie Harlan directed this one, and great action sequences.
Were they married yet, or did they meet on this one? I can't remember.
They were married, I think.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think
they were together at least.
I don't think this was the first film they did together, but anyway, she it was very believable. It was like, they didn't have her do anything that was like, like you put the girl in the room now and like, she beats the shit out of like 12 guys and doesn't get a scratch on her. That didn't happen with this. So it was really believable. She used weapons. She was skillful with it. She, the dichotomy she did between the little mousy school teacher into the assassin was amazing. And Gina Davis really pulled off a complete, it's almost schizophrenic. It's not quite to the level of what's his name in Split.
McAvoy.
Yeah, that was the most amazing piece of acting I've ever seen in my life, where he can just go from character to character, completely different. But she really pulls this off. Like, you can see these are two separate characters, and then it kind of synthesizes at the end into both of them. Great action movie, believable stunt work, and fight scenes. Shoots the hell out of people, and has some little MacGyver stuff going on. When I first saw this, it really took me by surprise. I didn't know what to expect, and you see a much younger Samuel L. Jackson, sort of like makes the deep fake from Captain Marvel look really bad.
Yeah, the dialogue and the chemistry between her and Samuel L. Jackson in some of those scenes is just perfect. Yeah. Absolutely perfect. And, just as an aside, this movie was great. And then they remade it and they called it Salt, and it was terrible. If you see Salt, don't see Salt. Don't.
Isn't Salt based on a true story, though?
It might be, but it's the same thing. Sleeper agent, lady's got... it's just when I saw the previews for Salt, I'm like, are they remaking Long Kiss Goodnight? What? Anyway.
Well, speaking of previews, that's
supposed to be Tom Cruise.
Oh,
okay. Tom Cruise playing a man, not a woman.
I was gonna say I've never seen it, but I did see this, and I remember when the trailers dropped. Like, that was back when movies knew how to advertise your movies, because this movie was exactly what they promised it was going to be. It was kick ass. Samuel Jackson was great in it, both in action and in the comic relief, the way he should be. Well used, not like he was recently in the Marvels. Gina kicks ass. I mean, that's a great scene when she's like, "Oh, I must have been a chef," and then she starts throwing knives and shit.
Yeah,
and it's like, "Oh, maybe not." It's just a great film, the way it's all plays out, and just how her character shifts in the film, and how, like, she's one moment she starts out as this perfect little housewife and mother kind of situation, and then flips on a dime and she's this, trained assassin.
The guy breaks in trying to kill her with the shotgun and stuff like that, and she snaps back into assassin mode, hits the guy with something, knocks him down, she punches him in the back of the head, snaps his neck, and then takes a scoop of pie and tastes it. She's like, and it was just like, and then the boyfriend sitting there looking at her like, oh fuck, what the hell am I getting?
But I'm glad it made the list. Didn't make mine, but glad to see it here on yours, Andy. And you had number 1 on your list, Gary, which was also my one that was X'd out before. Miss Ellen Ripley of Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, Alien... Well, is she technically Ellen Ripley still in Alien 4? We'll say the first 2.5 Aliens.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Yeah, I couldn't deny this one, guys. I mean, this woman didn't age a day in 57 years. Still looks good. Dropped in with a bunch of Marines that didn't survive, made her way out, broke back into the hive, stole her new, sort of her new daughter, and made it out just barely alive. I mean, really, and then had to whip the shit out of the queen with a giant fucking robot. And still looks good. I was going to put Zool on my list as well. But then there would have been too many Sigourney Weavers, I
was going to say, you got her on here twice.
Yeah. Sigourney Weaver is definitely like one of my all-time favorite actors. I love her. I really do.
Oh, that's bullshit. We hate women.
Yeah, well. I just
That's why we're doing the show.
I'm just so enamored by Sigourney Weaver. I always have been since I was a little kid. Ghostbusters was the very first movie that I saw her in. I just think she's great, man. She's a great actress. She kicks ass. She looks good. I'm into it, man. I'm into it. I'm a fan.
I mean, it's hard to argue that there's a bigger name in the 80s, right, as far as female actresses go. You just named it right there. Aliens, Ghostbusters alone, not to mention all her other work. Yeah.
Another thing about Ellen Ripley, you know, when I was a kid, you know, in the 80s, wouldn't you think that it would just totally stand out if you're a young guy and you're watching these action movies and the lead is a female? Wouldn't that trigger something in your mind? Wouldn't you think that'd be like, if you're a dude, you'd be like, well, I don't like this movie because it's got a girl in it. I never even thought that. I never even thought about that. Like,
hated it instantly.
Yeah. I never even thought about that shit. I mean, like, imagine Aliens with a male lead. You'd be like, fuck this movie.
Well, she was one of the crew. She was wearing a jumpsuit like everybody else. She was pulling her weight. She was part of the whole team. And also, when the first time you see it, if you have no preconceived notion about it, you have no idea who's going to live, who's going to die, because they all seem like normal people doing a job. And Ellen Ripley, I mean, for the most part, especially in that first bit, she doesn't really stand out from everybody else in any particular way, because they're all just a team. They're all just doing their truckers in space kind of thing. It's only as the movie proceeds that, you know, she's tested and process of elimination. Eventually she has to be the one to sort of carry the weight. And that's what makes it so good. She's an organic hero.
Yeah.
She meets the task put in front of her. She doesn't start off as the leader. She rises to the occasion, and that's what makes her so great as a character.
And she barely made it out of there alive. Just barely. You know, I mean, had to blow up a fucking city-sized ship just to try to get rid of this thing, and still didn't. You know, so you know.
And she was right in the first movie. Like, that's the thing, is they could have avoided this whole thing had they just listened to her in the first place. And that's what's kind of poignant. See, that's what stuck out to me the first time I saw the movie. Not the fact that she was a woman and lived, as you pointed out, Gary.
Yeah.
Because that shit didn't fucking matter back then. What mattered to me was, like, she was right from the start. Y'all should have listened to her. And the fact that she lived and was the only one who survived was fitting, because she said from the start, no, we should leave. We can't contaminate the entire fucking crew. We have to go through procedure. And everybody argued with her. And even though she was being the Karen, quote unquote, at that point, you know, as most people would probably see it as, she was right, because look, you're on a planet. You don't have no idea what the fuck this guy's got on his face. You have no idea what it's going to do. You have no idea if he's going to live or die anyway. Why would you risk the rest of the crew? You don't even barely know if he's alive at this point. So there's a lot of variables here that she was right about. And then you go to, like you said, the next films, she is the only one who is right. And, you know, she, you know, figures out right away that, you know, or not right away, but she figures out in the process of things what's really going on. And, you know, she's a great, strong character. And I never thought once about her being a strong female lead until it became this whole thing that we talk about every single fucking day. In fact, it's ironic that I said, you know, Sigourney Weaver is arguably one of the biggest stars of the 80s. Not to mention just female stars, just stars of the 80s. Yeah. I mean, and you know, you got her twice on your list. She was one of the first actresses I remember actually knowing their name, right, when I was a kid. Yeah. And it was because she was in Ghostbusters, because she was in Alien, because she was in all these things, that she was somebody that I knew her by name. And there wasn't a whole lot of actors until I was probably, you know, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old enough to really kind of understand it a little bit better, where I didn't actually know their, because to me, Bill Murray was fucking, you know, Peter Venkman for years. And so, you know, eventually Bill Murray, did, because I've seen him in so many movies. Eddie Murphy was another one, you know. Sigourney Weaver was an early one for me. Tom Cruise, well, that was just because everybody knew who fucking Tom Cruise was, right? But there was only a handful at first I knew before I actually got into movies, just vicariously by picking them up, you know, and she was one of them. And this character will go on in infamy, and it's just sad what had happened to the character in Alien 3 and 4. And I mean, that's the only reason people wanted her to come back in any shape or form, is to play that version that she is in Aliens, not these other versions we got afterwards, unfortunately. And
that David Fincher bullshit was just terrible.
I don't hate the movie, but I hate what it did to the characters before, right? If it was an also Rand thing, it's fine, but like, I'm Sarah Connor was a close follow-up for me. I really like Sarah Connor, but
Ellen Ripley's just got it all, man. I just that's my number one.
Well, speaking of Sarah Connor, you're terminated, fucker. That'd be my number one, because there's a mother, a heroine, a woman that stood out to me as a child. Sarah Connor above all, not just because she had similar name to mine, but you see her take. What was that quote? Go ahead, Andy.
One thing, going back to Sigourney Weaver, you might not
sorry,
know
sure.
that she was a young Sigourney Weaver was the model for Kitty Pryde in the X-Men.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
What?
they John
Did
Byrne
not know that.
John Byrne modeled her after. In fact,
Wow.
the second or third issue that she is been with the X-Men. There's the introduction issue. There's the whole Dark Phoenix saga, and then they have the whole funeral and things like that. And the last issue of 138, she's showing up at the school, and they have a couple little adventures. And there's the next issue is Christmas Eve, and she fights this demon who looks strangely like the xenomorph, and it's like it's Kitty Pryde alone fighting this thing as a brand new recruit, like with barely any training with her powers, and she destroys the mansion and like the Blackbird and the Danger Room, but she does manage to kill the monster. And the whole thing was like, and she is designed to be a young Sigourney Weaver.
Excellent. I did not know that. But yeah, so back to Sarah Connor. Yeah, I mean, Terminator complete arc of this character who goes from being a victim to a mother and a protector. And she, like Mrs. Voorhees, will do anything for her son and kill anybody who comes between, her son and his fate. Right? There's nothing to that. And even in the Miles Dyson scene, when she breaks down, we still see her femininity and her humanity, while at the same time, she's still trying to carry out her duty.
Yeah.
And it's just, this character, I love how she came full circle through the two films, going from, being the damsel in distress to being the actual protector, like I said, to even becoming the Terminator at one point, right? When it comes to the Miles Dyson scene, and then, just the way the film carries out to the end,
massive character arc.
She has a massive character arc throughout the whole thing. There's the regret of what she's done to her son, and she even starts to doubt herself until that moment she comes face to face with Arnie again in the hospital. I mean, even though she never did lose it, she still kind of started to question it herself, I'm sure. But that moment, she knows what her destiny is and what her son's destiny is and what they have to do. And she doesn't hesitate once from that moment on throughout the rest of the film. And it's just sad how she was pushed to the side or wasn't brought back again until that last film we just had that was horrid. But the one good thing you can say about that last movie is Linda Hamilton kicked ass in it. She was good in it.
Yeah,
she was the only good part.
The one thing about her character in the second movie is something that, I always think about when I see horror movies or action movies and things, and then they talk about a sequel. It's like, okay, what would be the natural, realistic progression of a character that just survived the haunted house and then they get to the next movie or something? It's usually like you just hit the reset button and you have to kind of do the whole thing over again. In this case, it's like, no, she just survived a knockdown drag out with a robot from the future. What happens to a person that goes from that to 10 or 12 years on to the next movie? And the fact that they actually didn't shy away from what the actual effect that would have on it. Yeah, they didn't hit the reset button. Some stuff happened. She's in a mental asylum. Like,
she's in a fucking mental asylum. Exactly.
And we have to find this out going backwards as to everything that happened to her. And it all makes sense when you know for a fact that killer robots from the future are going to come and destroy you when the world ends. How do you prepare for that? And so
it's gonna feel pretty fucking real to you too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's what I love about the character in that film specifically is that the writers and Cameron and everything did not shy away from thinking realistically about what this character would have been up to in the interim between the two films and showing us the result and having it be such a contrast from the meek waitress from the first film. Even though she got a little badass at the end of the first film, boy howdy, does she take that further by the time you get to the sequel.
Think about everything that Sarah Connor went through. There's nothing that you could do to this woman that hadn't already been done by the end of Terminator 2. I mean, even being in the mental institution, you know those guys were abusing her.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the hell that this woman lived in and went through and still made it out. Yeah, this one, you know what, Tom? This one, end to end, you know, from Terminator to T2, this one's a good pick.
One of the scenes that I loved about this was when her son realizes that she's not insane and that all the shit that she told him was true. That was a powerful scene too. So that one thing I will really stress is the shape that she put herself in for this movie. When you see her in the first movie, she's very soft, very feminine, very 80s girl,
teenage.
Big hair,
just and into this she's she makes herself into a weapon. And when she beats the shit out of all the orderlies, and then that scene where she gets the drain cleaner and puts in the syringe in the doctor's neck, it's and he's she's bluffing, you're all dead anyway, I believe it. Do what she says.
Yeah.
That I love.
You
that
skipped one of the better lines too. I know what's in that. Do you know what the fuck's in this?
I'll pump it full of this shit, I swear to God.
I love that scene where the T-1000's coming through the thing and the psychiatrist sees it and he's like, oh fuck.
How about the moment where, she's escaping, she's beating the crap out of these guys with their own weapons. And this is probably the most powerful moment in the movie for me, is when she runs around the corner and she's in full on train mode.
The first time.
And Arnie walks out of that elevator and everything comes right back to her.
Yeah.
She's like, oh shit, she gets scared. She flips out. She's screaming. She's all of a sudden she's helpless. And dude, everything goes away because that memory all comes back, and that was intense. I didn't realize that moment until I got older.
Yeah.
And then when she sees her son there, she kind of wakes up out of it. And she goes back into it takes her a minute, but that's brilliant acting and that's good directing right there.
Yeah. That's PTSD on parade right there.
Yeah,
is what that is. Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. She completely lost all control when she saw him.
Yep.
And then you get a really great, then the second act there, you get a really good idea of what she's done since the first film.
Right.
Because we have no real idea. And then you find out, oh, well, she's been trying to train John all these years, taking him down to Mexico, working with all these, militaristic guys and
survivalists and things.
Survivalists. That's the word I was trying to find. Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's like, oh, of course she would have. But at the same time, you see this whole thing coming together, and it's just she is doing her best to just hold it all together. And she is, I hate saying the term, but key to everything, even though John technically is, but she is the key to getting him from point A to point B, and she's going to die if it takes her to do that. And that's what she knows her job is to do. And she will stop at nothing to do that. And that's why I put her on this list. She has a lot in common with the bride and Mrs. Voorhees in that respect, that, nothing is going to, with her, when it comes, nobody fucks with her kid. Yeah. Right? That's all there is to it. And that's a very motherly thing. You can have the nicest, sweetest woman in the world. You fuck with her kid. You better watch the fuck out.
It doesn't get any more feminine than being a great mom. And this woman is a complete badass. This woman is more man than most fucking dudes. And she's still an amazing mom. So, I think you win, Tom. Number one pick here.
Yeah, I was surprised she wasn't on more lists. This was an easy number one. Yeah,
I cheated. I waited to see what everybody else's list was and wanted to throw some things in there that hadn't been picked,
which isn't bad. Which helps keeps this show within manageable terms.
Yeah, because fewer X's all over the place.
Yes, and that too. That's always nice. So we have a little bit more to talk about, and it's always fun. We got one more super chat in the Interium from Red French Moon, who says Rita Veratsky Emily Blunt in Edge of Tomorrow. Oh yeah,
Okay.
She wasn't too bad.
Didn't
in that.
see that.
It's not
I
too
like
bad.
Emily
You might enjoy it.
Yeah.
All right. It's kind of like a sci-fi version of Groundhog's Day. I'm not kidding. It kind of is.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, and that was our list, guys. So hopefully you enjoyed the list. Oh, and Jason Webster fired in another 5 here. Says, well, are we all crushed the stunning and brave Captain Marvel, Lady Thor, or Amber Heart's Hera? Amber Heard, I think he meant.
Yeah.
Didn't make any of the lists. Well, no, I don't think anybody is. And
Devastating.
hurry up and get your last minute votes in. I'm about to end the poll. So get your votes in now.
I forgot about Lady Thor. I absolutely forgot that they did
I thought
that.
about putting her in
that's
the
right.
intro. I did. I debated on it. Her and Captain Marvel, I thought about putting in the intro.
Oh,
So all right, we'll let everybody have just a couple more seconds to vote.
Disney can write a book on how to ruin franchises.
I think
Well,
it just got, didn't it just get published, How to Ruin the MCU, Crash and Burn or whatever?
You know what's sad is Disney owns Ripley now too.
Yeah.
Oh, she's a Disney princess. Oh, okay.
Well, at least
the
the
Queen more.
alien should be the Queen alien. Should
Oh, the
be.
Queen Anne's in Disney. Yeah, that's right.
Well, she's an evil queen,
Yeah.
so that would make Ripley a princess, wouldn't it? By proxy.
Would that make would that make Ripley the Snow White of the two? Because I mean,
That's what I was thinking. I mean, it works.
Sigourney Weaver was the evil witch or the evil queen in a Snow White movie from back in the 90s.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, at the same time, I don't give a shit as long as Frankenfurter is a Disney princess. That's all I give a shit about.
There you go.
And Klinger, now that they own MASH as well. So both
That's right.
be considered Disney princesses. End of discussion. All right, let's end this vote and see what you guys think so we can end this show. We have Ripley coming in at number 1 with 38% of the vote. Princess Leia close behind with 31% of the vote. Doesn't sound like you guys agree with me so much with Sarah Connor. She only came in with 19% of the vote. And poor old Wonder Woman only got 10% of the vote and didn't even wind up on any of our lists, which is kind of funny because if it had, we probably would have had an argument happen.
Wait, didn't you say movie heroines?
That's what I said, movie heroines. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I wouldn't have picked Gal Gadot if we were talking about.
That's what
Wonder
I'm
Woman,
saying.
I would have picked Linda Carter. You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, see that one
but
I wouldn't
that's
argue
TV.
with, but that's TV. But yeah, I tried
That's
to minimize it to one,
Yeah.
to one type of thing here. So we can still do TV versions too yet. So hang on for that.
I almost put Scully on my list, but I thought, well, she only was in those couple of movies, and she's a TV more. Yeah, so I kind of flipped on.
But
that.
she
I
did
would've put her on the
crossover,
list.
so it counts. So
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I was kind of iffy. Either way, maybe if we do TV at some point, I'll put her on there.
indeed. And we haven't got our vote situation set up to where you guys can vote on next week's show yet, but I definitely would try and have that in order by next week. Because I think next week, is it next week that's Thanksgiving's the week after? I think.
I think so. Yes.
So we'll be doing our favorite Thanksgiving films in either way.
Okay.
Yes, I believe that would be the weekend before Thanksgiving or the week of Thanksgiving, one of the two. So yes, we're going to do our favorite Thanksgiving themed films that have anything to do with Thanksgiving, or I guess I would extend it to something. Yeah, so actually it's the 23rd. So there we go. Perfect. Yep, so we'll be doing it just before. So on the 19th, we'll be doing Thanksgiving themed films about Thanksgiving, take place on Thanksgiving, or have a theme of giving thanks. I think that's pretty. But if you have any more questions, guys, I think you can ask me after the show in the chat, in our DMs. But I think that's pretty concise. So there you go, guys. That's what we'll be talking about next week. Yes, planes, trains, and automobiles would definitely be one of those that would qualify for the list. I have a feeling that may top everybody's list. This might be a list full of X's. So we'll see. Next week, we'll talk about that, though. So we'll gobble that all up. Gary, do you have anything you want to plug?
Yeah, check out Andy and I on Wednesday nights over at Dictor Van Doomcock's channel on Pop Culture Breakdown. You can find us there. I think the show starts at 5 o'clock
What's the movie
Pacific.
this week?
The movie this week is Police Academy. So,
Are you effing kidding me? I'm going to try and show up. I just watched
better be.
all of those.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a
be-
good one.
this should be
Doomcock's never seen it, so
What?
it'll be
What? Are you
I
kidding
know.
me?
That's yeah. We had to force him. So anyway, yeah, that's
Your timing is
definitely
impeccable. I just got the Shout versions in the mail.
definitely one of my favorites. So yeah, thanks for being here, guys. Hail Mead, and we'll see you next week.
What did he do? he did a very, very bad thing.
Oh, God.
I love it when he looks under the podium. One of the greatest comedies. Well, I don't give a shit what anybody says. Police Academy still holds up. I just watched it last week. It's a great fucking flick. In fact, they're all great up through about part 4, and then after that, they kind of start falling off. Yeah. But Andy, I'm assuming you'll be there as well. But do you have anything else going on in the meantime?
I will be on Ranker Steve's show, Manorama, on Tuesday night. Check that out. On
Indeed. Rumble. Scribe, what are you going to be breaking down next?
Let's see. Well, you can find me regularly on Thursday nights, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, for my series called TED Excellence, where I take a look at TEDx talks of various types for education and entertainment, and as well as other sundry topics that might take place in the course of events regarding wokeness, social justice, and other insanity that might happen. But I also have a series on my channel that I want to promote a bit more. I'm trying to get back into it. It's called Living on Borrowed Crime, where I interview true crime content creators on YouTube and elsewise and talk to them about their genre, their craft, and the stories that they deal with. So take a look at that. I'm happy each week to have a chance to talk movies and geek out and stuff with these guys. So thanks for having me on, Tom.
Absolutely, anytime. Yeah. So what's your name? Jughead. I was with the Archies. Jughead, that was my mother's name. I can change it. Why? It's a good American name. I love Zad and Tooth.
Fucking gold
Zad, the
plate.
new guy's here. I told you I'm watching Family Affair. That's a rerun.
Fucking Bobcat gold plate.
I love him. He's great.
I was just thinking, like, the bullet would go through my head, and I'm like, I love those movies. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Sorry, I'm not sorry, but yeah. They made Steve Guttenberg a star.
Yes, we certainly did.
Yeah.
Yes, we did. We do.
Fade in.
Oh, okay.
I just love to get everybody's attention with that. So we're going to head out with the thing I edit because it takes me so long to do it. Otherwise, I feel bad that I only get to use it once. So here we go. Here's the intro once again. Thanks so much, Gary, Andy, and Scribe for being here tonight. Hopefully we'll have Tox and everybody back next week as well. See you guys. Take care of yourselves. And we'll see you on over in Culture Stream.
Get away from her, you bitch! You're terminated, fucker.